We're following some breaking news today in Health Watch. This morning, NYU Langone Health announced that it performed a successful transplant of a gene-edited pig kidney with a female patient. The 53-year-old woman from Alabama is now free from dialysis, and doctors say she is in better health since this transplant happened last month. The news is coming out now. She is now the only person in the world alive with a pig organ. Right now, more than 90,000 people, meanwhile, are on the wait list for a kidney transplant in the U.S. alone, but only about 27,000 transplants were performed last year. There is a shortage. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. Jon LaPook is a professor of medicine at NYU Langone and is here with more details about this procedure. Sounds very promising. What excites you about this?
Well, this is finally coming of age. I mean, you mentioned how many people need organ transplantations and how many actually get it, a small percentage. And this has been research that's been decades in the making. And just in the last year, now we have these xenotransplantations, which means you're having an animal organ and it's going into a human. And the interesting thing here is what they did is they fiddled with the genes. So there were like 10 gene edits that made the pig kidney more compatible with humans. They put it in and it's working. It was 3 weeks ago yesterday. And it's working.
She looks amazing. I mean, you see when she's being wheeled down the hallway in the hospital, she's like, you know, raising her fist. She's so excited. What's her story? Why did she need a kidney? And why pigs in particular?
Yeah.
Because there have been other organ transplants.
Right. So two different questions, but let's talk about her first. So in 1999, she donated one of her kidneys to her mother who needed it.
Wow.
And then she developed kidney failure herself during pregnancy because of complications. That happens, by the way, where a donor gives a kidney and then ends up needing a transplantation way less than 1% of the time. So this was really unusual. She ended up being on dialysis for the last 8 years, on the renal transplant list for 7 years, but she has sort of unusual antibodies that made her not a good donor recipient candidate for 99.99% of potential donors. So compassionate use, the FDA okayed this trial, and she got the pig kidney, and now she's back in the hospital. She's having back in the hospital with a little bit of rejection that they're treating. They think she's doing pretty well right now. And why pigs? Because they tried it with primates initially, this is decades ago, and that they were too similar to humans, apparently. Pigs are different enough and yet similar enough so that they're not rejected if you fiddle with the genetic makeup.
Can this, and when will we know if the answer to this, solve the organ shortage crisis we talked about in the introduction?
Yeah, I think this is the way to go right now, because less than 1% of people who potentially could give their organs or actually end up giving it. So the logistics of it are huge. And right now you have to clone these pigs, so it's like a big deal to try to do it. What they're looking to do is to breed them, to have a species or a type of pig who are genetically altered so that they actually have all the right genes so that they're not rejected. But instead of having to clone them, they're just bred. So now you have a ready supply of these kidneys. And you know, look, it's still early days. This is only the third one. It's like it all happened this year in terms of this type of thing. But huge team at NYU Langone, where I am a professor of medicine. So I do have some dog in the fight here in terms of bias. But I have to say they did it up at Harvard, in Boston. They had it earlier this year. And I think this could be a potentially huge thing for everybody.
I was just checking my license to see that I am an organ donor, so you can give me a little pat on the head.
Great.
Yes, and I think that's something that everybody should really seriously consider, being an organ donor.
Thank you so much, Dr. LaPook. This is really exciting.